So tonight we're continuing boot camp, and I thought it would be really important because we've been doing a lot of hiring, and in fact, let me do this. Let me unshare this. So I just did the total. So part of tonight is explain to you guys what we're finding out in the marketplace and why what we're doing is fairly unique. And just to give you a perspective on this, because not a lot of people are doing what we're doing. So, as you know, this is a team meeting. We cover different things. We're kind of in the middle of a boot camp where we've done some really interesting things like we did attitude and expectations, we did FEX carriers, we did all carriers, we've done some illustrations, although we're going to do illustration heavy in the next couple of weeks. But we're doing something really unique, and the first part of this is the PowerPoint. We'll explain it. The second part, we're going to talk specifically about how to get started, which I think we've got a lot of new people that be interested in this. But before we get to that, I just want to show you, both Francis turned me on to a guy that's really good at running ads on Facebook about what we're doing. And so in Q1, we kind of woke up and said, if we want to grow this from 1.3 million to 3 million, we've got to hire some new agents. So we hired 19 agents in Q1. In April, we were really excited because we did 20 agents. So we beat the entire first quarter. And in May, we did 31 agents. And most of those are licensed. Some are unlicensed. And now in the month of June, we brought on 5 licensed agents, and really none getting their vouchers, because we want agents that have already been through the grind to some extent, and they know how to write final expense insurance, but they're really wanting to move on to IULs. So we have a very specific process for hiring. What I usually do is I send people to and I'll put it in the chat. So if you don't have it, to the IUL insurance agent.com. And you can go ahead and put them in, and they can go through, they can read about how we're different. When they fill out the survey, it says who referred you. And then you just put their name in, and that way we get a heads up. Like the other day, Brian DeBoard referred somebody. He went there, he set up a meeting, we talked, I got to know him, and we put him in contracting. So it's really, really a simple, and then we get back to you and let you know that he's getting started, so you can circle back with him. So really hiring is that easy. But I think the belief in what we're doing is what I want to focus on this first part. So this boot camp segment, we're going to cover company overview and lead vendors, because once somebody sees what we're doing, then they go through contracting, they want to get started. And so a lot of times people don't have 3,000 to 5,000 to go ahead and put into leads, but they still got to get started. And we got to have a strategy bigger than talk to all your friends and family, right? Because that gets kind of old and you run out of friends and family. So just to give the new people, there are a lot of people that are just joining us, to give them an overview. This is partially from our new agent orientation. So our IMO has 16,000 agents that have written a policy. 635 of those are agency owners. And of that, 34 of those agencies are Hall of Fame, meaning they've done over 10 million in a year. And you guys are one of those 34. That's this agency along with Francis and Juan Franco. So the three of us combined, our volume is doing over 10 million. Like I said, we're one of those 34 agents. Now we have the number one producer, and most of you guys know Francis. Francis did 1,070,some thousand last year in IUL and annuity, and he was the number one producer. He went across, as a matter of fact, in his office, he's got this big $1 million club medallion. I don't know if maybe Steve Giordano has one, but not for IULs. Down in Juan's group, so between Francis and a couple other people, 4 of the top 5 IUL producers. We're in this organization for FFL, And the vision on this is we want to build the largest IUL FIA agency in all of FFL, and that being fixed indexed annuities. And so there's a certain synergy that you get by having all agents that are doing the same thing. Plus, there's great training on it. So our goal is to grow from 1.3 million a month to 3 million a month in commissions paid. Took this picture. This is in our office here. All of Francis and my awards. Basically, when you do over $2 million in a year, I'm sorry, 200,000, you get one of these things. And so when you look at this was an award Francis got for Mutual Omaha. He was the top producer. They sent him to London. This is his Hall of Fame individual producer award. This is our agency producer award. So it's really cool. They just shower you with awards, right? So I show you that not as a bragging board, but just saying that you'll have the same thing, and you in this thing long enough, you just start putting together decent years. So a lot of you guys don't know the broker that we use. So this was our 2022 conference. We were down at Marlin Stadium, which was great. But for our last national conference, we had 1,000 agents recognized with IP over 200,000 to 1.498 million. A lot of organizations and IMOs who are out there boasting about how great they are, they don't even have 1,000 people go to their national conference. All right. And we had 1,000 of them that just went across for awards. So we're the #1 producer of life in the nation. Couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, in 1 week, FFL submitted 9,130 apps to America. That's crazy impressive. So estimate 20, that actually should be 2024. That's a typo. 500 million in life, 200 million in annuities. So what you're part of is really big. Now, specifically to what you're looking at tonight, we have a specific instructional system created by IUL agents. I talk to a lot of agents. They just don't do what we do. We have a very simplified system, 10-minute PowerPoint, 15, 20-minute illustration, and we close. Okay, it's meant to do business and large volumes of business. Most of you guys know we have a CRM system capable of doing landing pages to empower yourself to create your own campaigns and lead programs. We have vetted lead sources. We're going to talk about those in a minute. We really have a great training system with our boot camp because it was put together by all of you. It wasn't put together by me. It was I picked some of the videos and edited them, but they were so it's created by us. So it's really, and it's just IULbootcamp.com. And so it was really kind of we've been thinking about it for a while, but I was talking to Leanne and she goes, people are really excited until they go into your Google Drive and there's so many videos that they just get lost in there. So we decided to create something separate. And, any recommendations you guys have for that, I'd be, happy to hear them because we really want to continue to make that better and better. We have weekly live events, national conferences. All right. So just carriers and numbers real quick. I redid this, all the logos and put them on here. So you can see we really have access to a lot of companies. Unfortunately, it's too many companies. I was counting in my HCMS, I think I'm contracted with 17 different companies. And so when you get started, we contract you with 4. We do Americo, Mutual Omaha, Corebridge, and Aetna. And then on the specialty products, we do NLG, F&G, Ethos, and Athene. So you get 8 companies and a very specific reason why you have each one. And in the last couple of weeks, we've done videos covering why we have and how to utilize those companies. As a matter of fact, I'll put the link to that. So anybody that missed that, And you're wondering, well, how do you guys do final expense? We got a video on it. What are all the carriers? We got a video on it. Um, I was noodling around with Chat GPT, and I put in this information for the IUL life sales for 2024, and I got this great graph. And you can see in the middle here, even though Pacific Life does a ton of advertising, you can't turn on a college football or basketball game without seeing that stupid whale come out and splash on the water. And yet, National Life Group in total premium and in policy count for last year was number one. And to show you the power of FFL, if you look at right here, Americo companies, now they didn't come out with their IUL until last year. It was the first year. And of course, Americo was the only company that would leave when Sean Mike in 2014 started FFL. And so there's a huge alliance there, because if it wasn't for Americo, FFL wouldn't exist today. And so in their first year, they end up in the top 5 policy counts in the whole nation. So, and policy count isn't everything, right? Because here's Pacific Life. They only wrote 7,900, but their annualized premium was number one. So they're writing fewer policies because they're working with a different level of client. But the point is, we work on big volume and they work on big numbers. And of course, we're always trying to trend into that direction. So, if you guys, we could send this out too if you want it. It's just that when you're working with a client and you talk about National Life Group, you want them to see that they're the number one company, and that's who you're hooking them up with. Makes them feel it's like a big hug for clients. Francis sent me this. He was on the Achievers trip, and I just love this one because it shows the growth: 17% in annuities and 20% in life. That's the kind of company you want to be with. When they don't show you those numbers, then you got to kind of wonder what's happening. Okay. So now we pay, the corporate pays a monthly production bonus. It starts at 20,000 every month in issue paid. It sends you a direct bonus of $650, and at 200,000, it's 20,000. And you can get this every single month that you land your issue paid between 20K and 200K. And then the other great thing they do is they take 4.5% of the monthly annual premium and they put it in a pool. And then based on these 6 relative points, your growth, your bonusable premium, your direct legs, your net writers, the number of direct non-VP writers, I don't know what that means, and persistency, they give you a point number, and then you share in a percentage of that 4.5%. And these are for vice presidents that are doing as a group over 150,000 a month. So what you can do is start off by writing policies, build an agency, and eventually get to the point where these bonuses are so big that you can work on your agency and grow it instead of working in it and writing premiums. But the reason I show you that, a lot of companies say, oh, we've got a profit sharing program. Oh, good. Show it to me in writing. Well, they don't have anything in writing. Well, they really don't have one. FFL is the real deal. Now, some of you guys were on Juan's meeting Sunday night, and they had a protege of Tony Robbins named Stu. I forget what his last name was, but he talked about Tony Robbins' 3 pillars, which is strategy, action. He said, these were just from my notes. For massive results, you need massive action. If you want massive results in your business, you got to take massive action. And action that produces sales is dialing the phone and having leads to dial. And then mindset, I thought this was really interesting. 80% of success is mindset and 20% are mechanics. And so the reason to me that's important, it kind of struck a nerve, because we kind of go, hey, can I get that script? Can I get this, that? We want to memorize everything. But really what works, like I'm going to talk a little bit about Danny. Danny was in today. But Danny's was having a terrible time. Just he couldn't. He's got a lot of experience. He just wasn't right in business, and all of a sudden his mindset changed. He found a couple new techniques, but it was a combination of a change in mindset and a change in mechanics. And all of a sudden, boom, he's writing policies. So so you're, and then they were having you write down reasons that you don't think you're succeeding, and he said it's all BS. And everybody laughed because you don't hear a guy say BS very often, but they call it belief system. So your belief system is the thing that holds you back. And so I was reflecting on how I got started in the business and my attitude. And MJ hated this, but I said, my mindset coming in was I'm going to grab this sucker by the throat and I'm going to shake it until it reveals its secrets to me. And that I was going to work on getting better every single day until I became good. So that's the mindset you have to have. You won't, sometimes you think you're failing, but you're really getting good. I mean, dialing second chance leads is a grind, but the more you talk to people, the better you get. And you turn around a month later and you're so much better because you know what to say, you know the objections than you were a month ago. So in our business, jump in and learn it. Don't overthink it. Experience is the best teacher, but it doesn't need to be your experience. There are just so many attitude YouTubes out there where you can learn. Uh, you can listen to Les Brown, It Ain't Over Until I Win. That's all attitude. Okay, don't feel sorry for yourself is his message. Just keep trying and believing, and you'll have a breakthrough. Yeah, agents go Hall of Fame MJs on old leads. In fact, there's a guy doing a video that he actually did go Hall of Fame just on ethos leads. So hold on, I got to get back to where I was sharing. Okay, so experience is the best teacher, but it doesn't have to be your own. And in FFL, that's a big part of this. We're trying to raise up a team of doers, not a team of complainers, right? So if you have a complaint, you should be looking for a solution. You know, some people just they bring up a negative, but they never are really seeking how to offset that. So that's kind of our mindset is we don't mind if you express a complaint, but just be open to talk about how to fix it, right? That's what we're really interested in overcoming. This came from Daniel Broadway. He's extremely good at this. Learn scheduling and time blocking. You know, I got back on my Franklin planner because I was down, me and MJ went down to Tampa to visit her brother and our sister-in-law and just had a ball with him. And I'm like, I walk in his office and he's got his Franklin planner. And I said, oh my gosh, I've used that in the past and I quit using it because there's so much electronic stuff. And he goes, yeah, I never quit using it because I just like it because I write down everything I need to do and I prioritize it first thing in the morning, A1, B1, C1, and all your A's are the world's going to stop if you don't get it done. Your B's are they're important. Your C's are you can always schedule them till tomorrow. And it's kind of just taking those big rocks and making sure you get your big rocks done. Um, and then understanding that this isn't a sprint. Um, they would roll out $50,000 producers in their first 2 weeks, and I'd be like, oh, I want to throw up, right? I don't want to hear that because I couldn't do that. But I knew that if I just got better every day, I would get to that point where I would do bigger numbers. So just because you haven't come out of the blocks and done 20, 30, 40,000 in a month, don't get discouraged. Just if you did nothing last month, write a policy this month. If you did 5,000 last month, do set a goal and exceed that this month. And once you get over that $10,000 mark, all of a sudden you can see how you go to the next level. And it's really just having enough people to talk to is really what it boils down to. You know, sometimes we catch ourselves saying, yeah, you got to just get more leads, but you also have to get better. It's your tone and it's your words and it's the belief. So sometimes you just got to practice, and it takes some people longer than others. So this is really the second part. So any questions on that? We just ripped through a whole bunch of information. Um, Anybody have anything to add or any comments or anything on any takeaways from Tony Robbins, which I thought was really amazing? Stuart, actually. We good? Okay.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, and I knew that they were going to sell something at the end. They always do. So it's like we would go to a Robert Kiyosaki thing, and it was great. And there's Robert. Oh my gosh. And they were always selling their real estate class or something. So, anyways. So, part two, and this is really the meat of what I want to show you tonight. I think that a lot of people come into our business and their backs are financially up against the wall and they just can't, and they're talking about leads being 20 and 30 and $40. And it's like, how the heck am I going to make it? So there's a couple of leads. I want to show you three options on how you can make it. So option number one is that we talked about this last week, but Ethos has these abandoned cart leads. And people see a network ad for Ethos Life Insurance. It's on, like I was watching Greg Gutfeld the other night, and all of a sudden the commercial, Ethos. And they're driving this all over the TV networks and also over social media. So people go there and they go all through the process and they go to check out and they just don't pay for it. And so FFL has an arrangement with Ethos where those end up in our gateway. And as a matter of fact, I'll take you there here real quick. So in our gateway, and if you guys haven't like seen this real time, and this is a little bit of a review, but this is so important. This is our business. So you log in and you go to the lead center. Hey, Danny, are you on this call? I don't know if Danny had a commitment tonight. Okay. So you go into the lead center. Once you're in here, you pick life. You go to uh, internet, and then Ethos has a drop down box. You go to Ethos. Now, unfortunately, Andrew Taylor did a video on this last week. And so, you can see this has gone down by 2,000 leads. So there's 3,700 leads here and there's 1,122 leads. And you can see that the difference is these are less than 30 days old. These are 30 to 90. And so these Etho leads are really a great value. In fact, if I take you to our Slack channel. So Taylor, what this lead, was this go high level? I don't know if he's on. I don't know when we post on these, let's make sure we put what the lead source is.
I didn't put the lead source, my bad. That's Infinity Box.
Oh, Infinity Box. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, you can jump on and edit it. But beautiful, beautiful policy. Christie wrote an Eagle, American Eagle or Americo Eagle. I think that was a Kaboom lead. And then look at Danny. So he actually uttered the words, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to sell a policy again. Because, it gets depressing sometimes. So then he wrote, here's an Ethos abandoned cart. And then here's a Zach lead. So 4,800 AP and 2196. And then here's Taylor, you wrote another Infinity Box. And then here's Felipe wrote an Ethos. And then this was a referral for Isabel Smith. And Dan, I don't know where previous customer. Here's a referral. Felipe we talked about this last week. He ran his first in person. It was a Zach lead. So as you go up through here, you can see here's another ethos abandoned cart. So they're working. Here's another ethos abandoned cart. Here's another ethos abandoned cart. Here's another ethos abandoned cart. So point is, they're producing, and so that's just a great way. So if you get a bunch of them and you don't succeed at it, then it's something's wrong, and you got to work on your tone. And the best way to learn, Danny and Felipe are on live dialing Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturday mornings. You can jump on there and you can listen in, and it's just great training. Okay. So anyways, that's number one, and we went ahead and looked at that. Yeah, look at this. Last week, because I took the screen capture, there were 7,006 and 3,200. So people are catching on to them, right? So they're going to be out pretty soon. Hopefully they'll get a lot more. But that's one thing to do. And you can click by state, or you can just do the whole country.
Neal, can you show us how to save an alert for that?
Yeah.
Like, well, it'll let you know when it goes to 31 to 90 days. Is that possible?
Let's see. So automate and save. I know there's a way of setting alerts. Yeah, you know what? I'm not really sure how to do that.
Okay.
We used to do that. I remember you could do that and it would let you know, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
remember either.
I know they got this. I'm available for live transfers, automate and save.
What about manage leads? If you go to manage leads, is there anything there?
Actually, when you buy them and they're in your cart, it asks you, there is something when you go to buy them. Because when I
Yeah.
bought leads, I made a mental note because something popped up about set an alert for these.
Okay.
And it's in the cart when you're going to buy them or after you bought them.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah, great lead. Now I've got something just as good. So this just came to us today. Let's see, here we go. So that's option number one. Option number two is we've used Infinity Box, and Taylor will tell you it's $1,200 to set it up. It's a setup fee, and then are they $40 a lead for these IUL leads?
So they have two programs now. They have a 2.0 and a 1.0. 2.0 is probably the only way to go, in my opinion. It's $45. They're higher intent. They have to qualify like financially with questions, and then you have an internal sales agent who calls your leads and sends text messages and books. Actually does live transfers. I don't know. I have never got one yet. I just started, but $45 for, they're called 2.0, and then they have $35 for 1.0s, which are just lower intent. I don't know. But
So I would guess these 7,670 leads are probably 1.0s.
no, let me verify. I'm pretty sure that those are 2.0.
Really?
Let me double check.
So what they did, they sent out a text today to everybody who's ever bought these leads. And so they have 48 from January. These numbers are probably gone down. Almost 4,600 from February, 233 from March, 1,300 for April, and 1,200 from May. These are all IUL leads. And so the Felipe, ironically, not is the guy, the contact. So here's his phone number. I'm kind of thinking that you have to buy them in increments of 100. But if you're interested in those now, the way we found out about Infinity Box, Francis, if I remember right, we called Dan Hatcher, and he said they're kind of expensive, but
And I've used them. They were $39. I haven't got to the 2.0. I haven't bought them in a couple months. I've only bought them 3 months I bought them 2 months last year and 1 month this year. I bought just a group of 100 leads.
They usually want money up front, like I had to talk them down. They wanted 1 full month worth of leads plus the 1,200 upfront, so like 4,000 something. And I said no. So the lowest they'll go is you can buy 50 leads, which is basically 2 weeks worth. That's the lowest they'll go. There's a new thing now too, where they have a new pricing sales. If you're a current customer, 100, if you buy 100, you save 1,000, you save $700, $38 a lead. If you buy 200, $35 a lead. If you buy 400, $29 a lead. So it's
Yeah,
just,
they had those volume discounts, but these are like $6 to $15 each.
So I'm assuming those haven't ever been sold.
Yeah, here's what they said. They have never been contacted or assigned to an agent. So they're just sitting there. Now, people filled it out and no one ever followed through with them. Now, whether they filled out other leads or not, who knows, but they've never been contacted, never been assigned. So to me, this is as good as Ethos leads. Because these
Wonder
are
what's up with February, because my leads, I had a ton of leads come in February. Look, they got 4,500 extra leads in February.
right.
You know, and then in March, my leads started freaking out in Google, and so
A lot of people get their taxes back in February because they do it, and so that's when you get a higher purchase rate in February because of that.
yeah, that makes
You,
sense.
you think April would be 233 because that's when everybody's got to pay their taxes. So no one's looking. So it's just something's going on because I've never really seen a couple of opportunities like this kind of boom boom back to back. And then the third one that I just want to point out is um, limitless digital marketing. So these are the guys I'm talking with, and there's a link here that I'll put. Let's see if I can. And so what they do IUL leads, and if you click on this, I'll take you there. There's a site on how they do their leads, and these are and this is the form and what they ask and all the stuff. So they're highly vetted. This is the group I'm talking to about creating our own funnels and all that stuff. But these guys are legit. They do a lot of business. So let me put this in the chat. And though, I mean, those are just three. I mean, we spend a lot of time talking to lead vendors. I got a call with these guys tomorrow to talk about this other program. But so he walks you through. There's a video right on there just to show that it's not the kind of lead that it extracts the data out of the person's phone and they don't even know that they filled out the lead form. There's a lot of that kind of stuff going on out there. Let me just stop this share.
do those leads are those part of any appointment setting or anything, or not? That's
No.
different program?
Yeah, really, you just hit on something I meant to talk about, so thank you. There's two kinds of ways to conduct the business. One way is you outbound call leads and you book your own appointments. And that's what we call the grind, right? So the agencies, a lot of guys in Zach's organization's blowing up. And a lot of those guys are they're making their formula is 400 dials a day, talk to 35 to 40 people, do 10 presentations, and write 1 to 3 policies. That's their formula. So, that you can't do that forever. That's just the way it is. I mean, eventually you'll burn out on that. So the other way to do it is as you start getting success and banking money, you start shifting over to things that book on your calendar. So that's kind of the progression that you take. And so obviously, booking appointments on your calendar, those are like $50 to $100 a lead. It's just a whole different ball game for a whole different group of people. So these are the way that they price out their program: 30 leads, $30, 50 leads, 28. Everybody does that. The more you buy. And they come in real time, so they don't, you don't order 30 leads and they just pile in and they've already got them. I mean, they're created and they come to you. So I put that link in. You guys can take a look at that. Now, what we're working towards is this is the same guy that has this. So he sent me this, and So he had 6 agents submit 8 policies each in 10 days for 860,000. Their average IP was 17,217. So he builds these systems for, Charles Schwab, Edward Jones, all these high-end companies that focus on assets under management, and then they do IULs and annuities. So that's where we want to, and he sent me the National Life Group header. So this is where we want to move to. That's a work in progress. I don't know if it'll happen or not. It's pretty expensive, but basically it's a 5,000 a month ad spend, and they book the appointments, and all you do is show up for the meetings and do the discovery call and the presentation all at once.